Welcome back to our series One Big Question, where we explore topical points of interest with thought leaders in cybersecurity. And today our question is, again, looking at the hybrid workforce and exploring how do we actually avoid having a bad day in the cloud.
Yes, hello again, everyone. So I'd like to introduce our special guest from AWS, Stefan Abukuntakis. Stefan, do you want to just give me a little intro about yourself? And then I'll ask you our first question.
Sure. Thanks, Joe, and thanks for having me today. Hi, everyone. My name is Stefan. I'm a senior security architect at AWS, where I help our Australian and New Zealand customers with their security and compliance projects.
So let's jump into the first question. So when you meet a client for the first time who's about to jump into their cloud journey, what are the three key security items you want to raise with them as they start their journey into the cloud?
Yeah, sure, Joe. Thanks for the question. Look, security and compliance is really a shared responsibility between AWS and the customer. Right? So if you look at some of the organizations that we work with, they're really successful at being proactive and gaining clarity on what they must take on themselves, what AWS can do for them, and then we look at what we both work on together. So when they start their cloud journey, we really need to be prepared for an impact on three things: people, process, technology. And allow me to provide some context around that. So from a people perspective, people will have to learn a new set of skills. Right? That can be, for example, how to architect your workloads in the cloud, how to design them. But in essence, we need to provide them training paths so that they can create those skills. And that can be in the form of a cloud guild or a cloud center of excellence. The second domain is really around processes. Right? If you look at the time between the inception of an ID for a business application and the actual deployment, traditional on-prem environments, we talk about weeks, if not months, right? And that gives the security team plenty of runway to implement necessary security detection and control capabilities. Now in the cloud, we see customers deploying applications in days, right? So that means from a security perspective, security teams really need to think deeply how to become much more efficient. And sometimes we refer to this as shifting security to the left. And then the third domain is technology. Right? It's still about the right services to prevent, detect, respond, and remediate, but cloud takes away undifferentiated heavy lifting. Two examples of that. First one is compliance. You move workloads into the AWS cloud and you inherit an extensive set of compliance controls. That can be PCI DSS, that can be HIPAA, that can be FedRAMP, that can be GDPR, that can be any of those on the list. And then the second one, from a technology perspective, scale and automation. Right, so if you embrace cloud adoption, you really embrace automating your security capabilities. Right? Great example, pushing out firewall rules. Right? It's no longer about logging into a device anymore. It's really about leveraging software as a code. So you create this continuous build system that allows you to test those changes and pushing them out in a near real time at global scale. So again, it's all about people, process, and technology.
That's really, really interesting. Again, it always comes back to people, process, and technology, whether it's in the cloud or anywhere else. Fascinating insights. So, Safi, love to turn it over to you. I know that you have lots of conversations with customers, and they're looking at not just dealing with their transition or managing that transition to the cloud, but they're also looking at an increasingly distributed workforce. So, what are their usual challenges and focus areas?
Yeah, I think certainly from organizations' perspective, what I'm seeing is a real shift in the way organizations approach security. You know, as you touched on, it's not only the journey to the cloud and applications starting to move into the cloud that people are dealing with, it's also the distributed nature of the workforce. You know, the rise of remote working has meant that people are no longer working out of secure corporate networks in an office, but are working from public networks from their homes. So now you've got distributed workers who are trying to access distributed applications, and it's a completely different thing when you're trying to secure that, secure the connectivity, secure the people, and secure the applications. So people are looking for different approaches. They're exploring new and emerging methodologies like zero trust as well. So certainly an interesting path forward for organizations as they're exploring what security means to them.
Yeah. Again, great insights there, and I think there's just so much that we need to take on board and consider if we're going to make a success of it. So do tune in as we really do a deep dive into these questions and more. We're going to be spending a good 60 minutes getting right into the juicy details, so that's coming up June 24. Stay with us then. Thank you.